Hi, everybody, and thank you so much for showing up. I'm so happy to see so many of you. I wanted to do a quick little video on this subject of creating money for whatever you want, because so many times people use money as a reason not to choose what they want. And so I created this, I don't know, last week, and some of the things that have been popping for me have come from when I was really young. So how many of you, when you were really young, had things that you wanted and you were told you couldn't because of money, and that's like stayed in your world? So I'm going to use the Access Consciousness Clearing Statement to clear some of these points of view out, just to get a little bit of space before I jump into sharing the tools. And if anybody doesn't know the Access Clearing Statement, you can go to theclearingstatement.com, and there's all kinds of information on what it means and how you use it. But it's basically abracadabra and change your point of view, clear out the closets, clear out your basement, clear out your mind, your computer banks, and have space for different possibilities to show up. Because when it's cluttered, there is no space for possibilities to show up. And therefore, you're right, and you're stuck with the junk. So all the energy that is stuck in your world from being a kid and asking for something and being made wrong for it, or any point of view that they put on you about money when you were young, will you destroy and uncreate all of that? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Yeah, I'm already like 10 degrees hotter just from that one clearing. It's like releases all kinds of stuff in everybody's world, even the people who are listening in the future. And I'm tapped into all of you who signed up for this and all the people who will be watching this in the future. So it's kind of a cool awareness to have. And I'm going to do my best to speak to everybody that I'm aware of. So, you know, when you were a kid and you wanted something, did you ever have any idea about that you couldn't have it? You just wanted something, right? Can you remember back that far? You're just like, oh, I want this. I remember taking my kids, and sometimes I would go look at like $1 million homes, like $2, $3, $4 million homes, because I like to do that. And I remember my son, he was 7 or 8, and he stood in this foyer of this $4 million home with this gorgeous view and a vanishing pool and all of that. And he's like, can we have this place, Mommy? I'll give you all the money in my piggy bank. It was just so cute. And from that, I was like, hey, you know, what are the possibilities? I didn't say no. I didn't say, you're so silly, we don't have enough money, we can't afford it. None of those things. I left it as a possibility in his world that whatever it is that he wanted, he could have if he chose it. And this is the first secret about money and creating money for what you want, is you have to ask for what you want. How many times do you stop yourself because you've already decided you can't afford it, you'll never be able to, and so you don't ask? So everything that brings up, let's destroy and uncreate, right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Yes, Donna? You want to unmute? You have to press the microphone button. Or maybe type it in.
Just typing. I set it up
There
with
you
the
go.
screen. I want to see everybody. So no, I was just agreeing with you. Like, yes, like good. We're moving some stuff. I like it.
Oh, awesome. Cool. Yay. So asking for what you want and not expecting it to show up like this instant, although it could, but being willing to ask for what you'd like, being willing to ask for the things, the experiences, everything, not discounting yourself or the thing that you'd like, that's the object of your desire, because you don't have the money for it yet. I was just looking at some tickets I have to go to Puerto Vallarta for the facilitator class that's coming up. And a friend of mine said, oh, I'm flying business class. And I was like, oh, I don't even remember what I chose. So I looked at my ticket, and one way is business class and the other way is first class. And years ago, I had made that demand of myself that, you know what, I like traveling first class. What's it going to take for me to always travel first class? And I don't always travel first class, but I do a lot more than I used to, a lot more. And it's usually only a couple $100 more than a normal ticket. And to me, that is so worth it. But it's something that I asked for, and then I've been willing to choose. And it's not about, oh, I don't have enough money to go first class. It's like, wow, I would love to travel first class. I would like to stay in nice places. I would like to have this, that, and the other thing. And you put that out there as your ask, and then different things will come to you, different possibilities that you can choose. And if you choose it, even if you don't have the money, you start to create this energy in your world of having money come to you as if by magic. So all the places that we try to do this logically, and we try to decide, well, if I don't have the money now, I can't choose it. Will you destroy and uncreate it? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. How many of you have wanted something and felt like it was too much for you to ask for? Like, oh, who am I to have
Well, that's
this?
what I was going to ask you, Julie,
Yeah,
about like when you want something and somebody else judges what you want. Like, why do you need that? You can't have that. It's too expensive. You already have this. So that would be a lot of energy on that for me.
yeah. So I'm sure a lot of us have that. So, wow, that one is multi-sided because, okay, so first of all the projections and judgments placed on you about what you want and what you have voiced that other people weren't willing to have themselves. Will you destroy and uncreate that?
Yes.
Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. And the other part of that is all the judgment it brings up in their world that you're aware of, that you think is yours, but it's them. Oh my God, I'm not willing to have that. I'm not willing to choose that. I'm not willing to be that. How can they? It's like when you go to speak on stage, there's this energy that comes up, and it's really all the people in your audience thinking, oh my God, I'm so glad I'm not the person on stage speaking. And as soon as you clear that, you can just talk. It's so cool. So all the misidentification of your awareness as your issues, your judgment, you're not willing to have something that's actually theirs. Will you destroy and uncreate and return it to sender with consciousness? Right and wrong,
Yes.
good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. So yeah, the being willing to ask for what you want is huge. And like all of that reluctance that comes up, all you have to do is, first of all, you can ask, who does this belong to? Is this even mine? And return to sender. Or pot and pock everything that's coming up. And now that they have started talking about the, what's it called? Algorithmic tonalities. So this is the new clearing and access, the algorithmic tonalities. So all the algorithmic tonalities of what's appropriate to ask for and what's not appropriate to ask for, that's keeping you in your current financial reality. Will you destroy and uncreate all of those?
Yes.
Right, wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Wow, like just all these algorithmic tonalities clearings are so intense for me. I don't know what you guys perceive, but it's like this like total spinning in my head. It's like, oh, wow, we have so many reference points to like hold us to the solidity of what's real in this reality. And when you're in that, when you're in the solidity and the logic and the justification and the wrongness of asking for too much, it's impossible to have the magic of you. It's impossible to have the joy of asking. So we have to clear out that stuff and then be present with ourselves and go, wow, what would I truly desire? And, you know, sometimes people think that if I had this amount of money or that amount of money or whatever that greater amount of money is, that I wouldn't have any problems or that I could have whatever I want. But it doesn't work that way, because even like, look at, well, I mean, pretty much anybody, even Oprah, but you know, Trump, and even Gary and Dane, like they are constantly choosing more than the money they have. Not saying that it's a problem that they don't have the money, but whatever level of money you have, you never think it's enough. So anywhere you're waiting to feel like you have enough before you can choose something, will you destroy and uncreate it? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Like Gary and Dane, they created that castle by Gary saying, I want a castle. He was willing to ask, I want a castle. And then somebody said, hey, there's this castle for sale. And he went and looked at it. And it was, I don't know how many $1 million. He didn't have the money, but he's like, does it want to be mine? What can we create with this? He got all this awareness and he's like, okay, let's do it. Now, then you get to work. Like, okay, what's it going to take for the money to show up for me to be able to purchase this or do this thing? So it's always first about the ask and next about choosing it.
Mm-hmm.
How many times do you choose it, not choose it, choose it, not choose it, choose it, not choose it, and like back away because of the intensity of energy and awareness that comes when you choose something. So everything that brings up and everywhere that it stops you from being completely beyond this reality, not normal, maybe even a little crazy, will you destroy and uncreate it? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. It's funny, like we are the ones that stop ourselves. We are stopping ourselves from everything. Or we're fueling the journey. Which is it going to be today? And what if we never judged whether we were stopping ourselves or fueling the journey? What if we just allowed ourselves to be aware of it and make another choice if we didn't like what was showing up? So everything that brings up, will you destroy and uncreate it? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. So first ask, second, choose it and really choose it. How many of you say, I'm choosing it, but it's like, there's no energy there. I'm choosing it. So like a lot of times this shows up in classes where someone's like, I'm choosing it. And if you're not registering, you're not choosing it. If you're not starting to put some money aside for it, you're not choosing it. If you're not asking questions, wow, what would it take for this money to magically show up for this thing? You're not choosing it. And it's okay if you're not choosing it, but don't lie to yourself that you're choosing something and you can't have it from some outside forces. It's really us that is deciding what's going on. So was it last year? No, it was 2019. I chose lots and lots of access classes, and I was traveling a lot and investing a lot. And I was looking at the Maestro class at the end of the year. I think it was October. Anyway, it was in Rome. And I had decided in my head that I'd taken all these classes and I had spent all of this money, invested all this money in myself, and that I was away too much, and that I really shouldn't go again to Maestro. I've already done it 3 years or 4 years. Like, do I really need to? So I sort of talked myself out of it. But the closer it got to the Maestro class, the more this like pull, and I was feeling really depressed that I wasn't choosing it. So I was like, okay, a week before the class, I didn't have a ticket. So I started looking online for flights, and they were $10,000. And I was like, geez, like the class was 5,000 or something. And I didn't have the money, and I didn't want to be in a middle seat either in the back of the airplane. So I'm looking and looking and looking, and actually called my sister, and she's like, oh, there's this other airline, maybe check that out. So I did, and I found a first class ticket for like $3,200 a week before. Like usually the airlines are super high priced, you know, after 2 weeks out. And it was nonstop. So it was just like, you've got to be kidding me. And so I chose it and I paid for it, but I didn't, I registered for the class, and it said on the Access site that I hadn't all the prereqs, and I knew I had them, but because that said it, I wasn't able to start paying for the class, and I didn't know if there was something else I needed to do. So I kept moving in that direction. And anytime something came up, I used this clearing, and you guys should use this because it was amazing. Even when looking for flights, I used this clearing, and it really, really helped. It goes like this. What is possible that I don't think is possible, that if I allow the possibilities, will actualize a totally different reality? I must have said that 100 times a day leading up to that class. And like, how many times do we think things are not possible, and so we stop ourselves, or other people stop us? Oh, that's not possible. So if you use that clearing, what is possible that I don't think is possible, that if I allow the possibilities will actualize a totally different reality. It is amazing what happens when you use that, because you're dealing with all of the things that you think are not possible, and you're clearing them, and you're opening yourself up to receiving other possibilities. It's super easy, it's super simple. And what's also funny is that you have no idea what these other possibilities are. All I was finding when I was looking for flights were United and Delta and whatever, and $10,000 back of the plane. And I was like, wow, who has miles? Who can I contact? You know, how can I get this done and not pay $10,000? I had no idea but I kept asking anyone and asking the universe. And then awareness came and I found something else. And then I found that first class flight on this other airline, and it was amazing. And I'm like lying down and eating beautiful food on an airplane. And I was like, you have got to be kidding me. And I just kept saying that question. You don't have to stop asking that question either. It doesn't have to be for some big obstacle that you're trying to get over. You can ask it for anything, really, even, interpersonal relationships or, getting through traffic. What is possible that I don't think is possible? That if I allow the possibilities will actualize a totally different reality. Everything that is right, wrong, good, bad, pod, poc, all nine shorts, boys, meons. It just relaxes your body and it puts you in this state of expanded receiving. So that is like your tip number 3 is to poc and pod everything that you don't think is possible. And then I guess tip number 4 is opening up to receiving however it shows up. There's a question. Go for it. You've got your hand raised.
Okay. I would like to take part in the body class of Shannon O'Hara on Mykonos. I really love Greece also, and my body loves it. I haven't got the money yet, but I'm looking for this, the surge, this fire, because I need this as a motivation to create the money, and I don't find it. There are so many possibilities, and yeah, what can there the question be? Is it relevant to me? Is it my course? Is it really?
So what is the question?
Yeah, that's the question.
What's the question, really?
What question can help me in this situation when I, yeah,
Well,
I have the.
Have you chosen it? Yes or no?
No.
So would you like to choose it? And so what you can do in that, like a lot of times we're trying to figure it out. Oh, well, I don't have the money, so I don't know if I should choose it, not choose it, choose it, not choose it. And we go back and forth. Flip a coin. Heads you go, tails you don't. Take it out of logic and put it into something else. And then if it gets tails and it's you don't, but you really want to go, you will sense like, oh, shoot, I really wanted to go. So then you get to what you desire. That's your ask. And then, all right, doesn't make any sense. I don't have the money. I'm choosing it. I'm registering. On the Access site, you can register for anything and not pay. And you can always cancel. But as soon as you register, there's this energy that you start creating in your world for moving in that direction. And if you don't logic yourself out of it, you can ask money come and have it show up, or you can figure out creative financing. I've done all kinds of creative financing for this stuff, whether it's 0 interest credit card that you pay off within the time, or PayPal credit, or I don't know. Sometimes you can go to a class and create business there. So, maybe you charge it and then you make money to pay it that way. As long as you're not coming to conclusion that you can't afford it and that the money is keeping you from choosing, then you can create whatever you would like. It's really about the ask and the choice. and pock and potting all your points of view that keep you from being able to continue following through with what you say you're asking for. So everything that brings up times a godzillion, and all the algorithmic tonalities that we have holding all of that in place. Will you destroy and uncreate it?
Yes.
Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. So this opening up to receiving however it shows up. I don't know about you guys, but like I've grown up around people who are in their heads about stuff, especially about money, and having it be logical and having it all be worked out and in advance. And you have to train yourself out of that, because that doesn't work. That locks you into this reality. It doesn't allow you to have the magic of you, the magic of ask and receive, and the magic of being open to possibilities.
That's not the problem for me, this thing with figuring out. What I meant is I need an energy surge that I burn for something, and I'm not already feel this surge to this course. I mean, I would like to, yes. But there's a lot of other stuff I would like.
So you like the chase?
You
like the chase? You like it to be hard? You like?
No.
No? So then maybe it's not for you.
Like, come on, baby, lit my fire. Yes, I have to get on fire for something, and then I can create out of nowhere. That's not the problem. But yeah, I mean, there's another course, and maybe, I don't know, it's a thing I'm just moving really quickly and develop myself really quickly, that aims so constantly also changing. But
So
I get an, yeah.
you just have to ask yourself, you know, do I want to choose this? If you don't have that burning desire to choose it, then don't choose it.
That's what I got. Do you really even want to go? And it's like you're trying to force yourself for all these reasons.
It's like trying to be attracted to some guy who you're not attracted to. You don't have to have sex with them.
Yes,
you don't have to like build it up if it's not there.
Maybe the energy doesn't match. Yeah.
Even though they're good looking, even though the classes increase, even though it's going to be amazing, because it will be, maybe that's not for you. And maybe it's not for whatever reason why you think. There's just something else. Maybe there's something else.
That's good. And is there any specific question to get clear about this? Maybe, is it relevant for me?
Yeah. Is it relevant, or what else is possible that I haven't considered that's pulling me? Like, where, body, show me where you want to be.
Cool. That's good. With body, there's energy for me. Cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a body class. I have to ask my body. That's a good idea. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Anybody else have a question? There's somebody in, we're actually having a body process trade after this. So, Dana, you got a question? No?
Just soaking it in.
All right.
Thank you.
Anybody else online? So I'll just recap. Number one, ask, be willing to ask for whatever you want, even if it seems crazy. Like, even if it seems like Dana was just looking for a new place to live and she wrote all the things on her list of what she wanted, be willing to ask for what you want, even if it doesn't seem like you'll find it. The universe may rearrange everything for you to have what you like. Number two, really choose it. Don't go back and forth. I mean, if you go back and forth, fine, but just recognize that anything that you really choose, hi, another person coming, anything that you really choose, you can have. And POC and POD everywhere you think it's not possible. You can create anything. You're an infinite being. So you can create anything and you can stop yourself from creating anything. So what is it that you truly desire? Are you willing to really choose it and POC and POD everything that doesn't allow it to show up in some crazy magical way that you never thought possible? What is possible for you that you don't think is possible, that if you allow the possibilities will actualize a totally different reality? And then open to receiving it, because it's going to show up different than you ever thought. I'm so glad all of you joined, and this will also be on my YouTube channel. So check it out, share it with your friends, and I can't wait to see what else you'll be choosing.
Thanks, sis.
Thank
That's
you.
good.
Thank you, Julie.